Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Sorry, I'm too many things at once. Not my thing. Yes. Hello, everybody. Uh, oh,
Hello.
hi, everybody.
Hello.
We got a little bit of a Zoom hiccup, but everything is working out fine. Please be patient and arrive in our virtual hosting situation. Yeah, Isaac. Yes, there you go, Isaac. Hello, everybody. Hello, Sergey. Thank you for your messages. Hello, Mariana. Good to see you. Hello, Tatiana. New link, new party. Everything's going
Yes.
fine.
Good morning
Hello,
or
everybody.
good afternoon, depending.
Yeah, it's all relative, right? It's all relative. So I'll just give a little bit of a time for everybody to find their way. Very good. We had a little bit of a Zoom hiccup, but everything now is running smoothly. We're just losing some time. But for the rest, everything is fine. Welcome, everybody. Greetings from Amsterdam, where it is sunny and very autumny. I have my first winter sweater on of the year, or this end of the year at least. I hope everybody's doing fine, and we are looking out to a good event. Nice. We have Dirk from Catalonia. Very good. Welcome.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hola, Tatiana.
Hola, buen día, Dirk.
Very good. I think we should be ready, right? Tatiana, are you ready to roll?
Yes, of course.
Isaac, are you ready to roll?
One minor request. Can we please make Asra a co-host? Sorry, Martin. It's the last minute.
Sure.
Thank you.
Let me see. Where do I?
Path is good to see you here. So she will help me with the systems mapping too, because she's one of the experts. So happy to see you have joined Path.
I'm afraid that you are now host, I think, Isaac, so I can't do that.
No worries. That's all good.
Yeah? So, team, are we ready to start this event? Yes, Isaac is go, Azra's go. Tatiana's go, because she always is, I know that. Cool. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Governance Hub of the Systems Innovation Network. Today, we are very excited to have a very, important and maybe, I know, I'm really excited. Let me put it that way. So we're going to talk about governance in complex systems, how Catalonia leads with innovation and tools. And we have a very special guest, Tatiana Fernandez, who you will meet in a moment. And she'll be supported by Ferran Dalmau, if I say that well, from the, and I so can't say this, Generalitat de Catalunya. Sorry, Mariana Mirabil from the OECD, and Miriam Acebilo Bak, and I definitely didn't say that one right, from the TIPC, but we will hear that, how that is done in a moment very soon. You are here, at the Governance Hub of the Systems Innovation Network. Our theme is always, how do you bridge the aspiration of systems innovation to reality? And again, today that will be the subject. And we will do that with support from the team members you just heard already. Isaac, Mario, who won't be here today, but was helpful with the preparations, as well as Brendan. Joss, founder of the SI Network, always involved, is somewhere here in London, I saw, and Azra too, who will be helping us. Today we will have a two-parter as far as the format is concerned. We'll have a conversation with Tatiana, with maybe some help of others, and then we'll dive into the tools and methods. I call that the tools and methods parade. And so that's kind of the setup. And roughly, well, part of an hour for one part of an hour for the other part, and in the middle we have a break. That is the setup as I would like to introduce it. And maybe just, Isaac, you'd like to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Good evening, morning, whatever it is over there. Everybody, I'm Isaac Riley. I'm coming to you from Canberra in Australia this evening. I'm a member of the Governance Hub team. Really looking forward to this in particular, this presentation in particular. I've dived into the Miro board myself, and there are some astonishing things in there. So keen to dive into that stuff. Thanks, Martin.
Very good. And maybe Azra, to put you on the spot as you're new, can you shortly introduce yourself as well?
Hi, thanks, Martin. Hi, everyone. Good morning. I'm Astra. I'm on the team with Joss on the SI organization. I am a community builder. I really help all the hubs to develop their communities and host these events. And it was quite fun and learning about Tatiana and what she does. So I hope this is as much as fun for you as well. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And I think before we go into the long introduction, we first have a little bit of an exploration and an icebreaker to do. So for that, I pass the word onto, or the mic onto Isaac.
Thank you, Martin. I just realized, Martin, could you drop the Miro link into the chat, if possible, or Azra? Or Martin, you probably got the latest version.
I will do so.
Thank you. So, a little bit of a warm up here. Given we've got people from all over the place, we'd just like to get a bit of an understanding of where you're coming in from and how you are in your place right now. So here we go. There's a little bit of a matrix here. Love a matrix. Find the corresponding color with your dot. That corresponds to your energy and mood levels, and then place that on the map if you can, please. So I can see people dropping into the Miro. Fantastic. If you come to where I am, or I can call you to me, maybe. I can't, I don't have permissions, but if you can find these yellow, it should be up the top left-hand side of the map. And just start dropping dots all over the map. And surprisingly, we have a hotbed in Europe. Or is it exclusively in Europe, except for me? That's good.
Well, the US is still sleeping right now, and of course they're kind of distracted.
Oh, there we go. Yes, US.
And if people cannot reach the Miro, no worries, please put it in the chat.
There we go. Now we're spreading out a little bit. I did deliberately include the Antarctic continent, just in case. Looking pretty good. Oh, and I love how people have resized it just to get the exact. That's a great initiative. Over in the UK, very Western European. Italy there. Also some,
Oh, we got Malaysia there or Singapore. What is that? Very good.
yeah. Oh, I was going to say Southern Hemisphere, but not quite.
And
Just north of
Mongolia
the
for the
equator.
win. Yes, Finland. And I see the board is still loading for some.
Fantastic.
It happens sometimes. As usual, it's very heavy.
We've got, what are our colours? A range of colours, it's good. All right. Looks like our dots are slowing on the full. So, second activity. We get an idea of how you're feeling, where you are. That gives us a good understanding of where you're coming from. Now, if you move slightly to the right, you'll see another matrix. This time, we want to get an understanding of two things. So we're measuring on the y-axis the level of your experience applying systems innovation, just in general. So that can go from never heard of it to being a system ninja, or and your level of experience with public policy. Again, from never heard of it to a policy ninja on the right-hand side there. So grab a dot, place yourself on that on the two axes, please.
Oh, we got some ninjas. I'm gonna get pressed. Very good.
That's a good spread. So the last time we did this, we had an almost linear trajectory here, straight up the middle. There's a really good spread this time. Does look like the top right-hand quadrant is heaviest, which is good. Sort of experience here.
Definitely, Josh. You can put yourself there if that's your question.
I didn't see where I just put it. Oh, Tatiana, you're off the charts over here. I love it. Wonderful. Okay. Thank you for indulging me, everybody, and getting used to navigating on the Miro board. We will be sharing it again a little bit later. But first up, I think we've just got a bit of a presentation with some slides from Tatiana and some questions, and Martin will explain how this will work. And I'll hand across to Martin again. Thanks all.
Well, thank you for running that part, Isaac. Hello, everybody back. Everybody now appears on my screen again. Very good. So, like I said, today we have a little bit of an open format. So normally you have a presentation and you have very scheduled questions. Today we want to do this in like an open format, which means that I will have a conversation with Tatiana, 1 hour about her and the program, and then afterwards 2 of the methods. And in between, feel free to break in if you have a question. Of course, you can do it in the chat, but you can also, if you find the right moment, you say, hey, excuse me, I have a question, and then you state it, and we'll roll with it. And so I hope everybody's okay with that. We had it a little bit, like I said last time, and that really worked well. And so that is the setup. We will have the Miro that you just opened. There is lots of material there that will be referred to. So feel free to already check that and look into it. And we actually won't be able to cover everything. So make sure that you call out, hey, don't forget that part. What is that? And we'll try to get to it. So with that, let's start. Yeah, Tatiana, welcome. And of course, if we were physical together, I would welcome you on the stage, but that's not the case because you're sitting in Catalonia. I'm here in Amsterdam. But either way, welcome. Um, you just have a new title I saw, and that is Head of Transformative Information at the government.
Innovation.
Innovation, exactly. And my words are, I think you're a leading systems practitioner. So you not only run a lot, but you're actually doing it. And again, that's why you're here. I will ask you a little bit more in a moment, like who you are, and that'll come. I think very important. You have 3 team members, if I say it right, Ferran, Miriam, and Mariana. And maybe you want to, as a start, maybe introduce them so they can take part of the conversation as well. And maybe let's start with that.
Yeah, of course. And we will add Pat too, because she's here. I didn't know she
Oh.
would be here today.
Very good. Oh, Pat.
Yeah,
Yes, hello.
because I'm going to explain the work we are doing in Catalonia, but of course I'm not doing this alone. There is a huge team behind me, and today, and it's not only team from Generalitat de Catalunya, but we are collaborating with many different institutions, international level, like the OECD. Mariana is an expert in systems thinking in the OECD, and I have invited her to present what we are doing together, because 2 hours only talking with me, it would be too much. Ferran is part of my team too, and he will help us to see the whole mirror. Miriam is also here. She's a researcher working for Ingenio and for the Transformative Innovation Policy Consortium, and she will share with us the tools that this Transformative Innovation Policy Consortium provides and how we are using them in Catalonia. And Pat, she is from Reimagine Futures. And Biliana is also here. I didn't see you, Billy. So they are from Reimagine Futures. Everybody knows Biliana, I guess. And we are working very closely in systems mapping. And since we wanted to show some of the maps that we are working on and that we are using in Catalonia, I will invite them also to explain a little bit of our collaboration. So this could be the people participating in this session from my.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Tatiana. I think we it's like a play, and now we introduced almost everybody who has what role in a way. And maybe now let's talk about you and maybe just like what I'm wondering. I mean, we are where we are right now. We kind of see a little bit on the board, but yeah, where are you from? What is your schooling? And can you make paint a little bit of a picture from there to where you are now? Like, how did you get here to the systems world, if you will?
Good question. I'm an economist. I studied economics, but yeah, from economics, you cannot address the huge challenges our society is facing. So I have been working in the public administration for 24 years now, and first working on policy issues related to the European Union, then working on macroeconomics and economics as such. And for the last 13 years, I have been working in innovation, in transformative. It has been a discovery process because I was expert in economics and in international relations. I did not anything about systems thinking or about innovation. But since as a public servant, our role is to address these huge challenges that are important for society, for citizens, for their territories. I started to look for answers on how we could address better these challenges. And this is how, step by step, I opened a new pathway in my career and also in my specialization. And systems thinking is key if you want to have an impact and contribute to green and just transition. So it has been a discovery process in which I have met many people, I have learned from many people, and we are many working on this in Catalonia and in the world, because in Europe, because I have seen Alessandro Daraio from Emilia-Romagna is also here. So there is an international team of people that are worried about how from public administrations we can have really an impact on addressing these challenges that are relevant for citizens, for the world, the green and just transition. So that could be a little bit my journey and my background.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Is there any particular moment that you really saw, like, you know what, my mechanical view is kind of not working anymore. I need to have that 3D chess game in my head of systems. Is there like one thing you saw, a poster, a book, or anything like that that really broke through to the other side?
Yeah, so I have not a very linear mindset. So for me, it was like, okay, what I see that we are trying to do, we have all of us a lot of good intentions. We are working so hard, but it's not working. And then I discovered when it was done in 2018, maybe, the book of Systems Thinking for Social Change and for Peter Straw, and this made a difference in my life because I read the book and it was saying, this is exactly what we are doing is not working. We need to change completely the perspectives of how we understand the problems, how we frame the problems, and how we start addressing not the solutions, because there are not solutions to systemic problems, but how we can start working to help the system change itself. Because it's not about finding solutions to the problem, it's about helping the system to transform itself. And then this requires quite a different approach, quite different tools, different conversations, different understandings. And then it's why I really started to look for questions. And it's why, yeah, for example, systems mapping, all the work the Transformative Nation Policy Consortium is doing, all the work in the United States also with collective action they are doing with that. So these are the kind of approaches that are really useful. So I think this book opened a new world for me, and since then I have been working on that. When
Very
you
good.
start working with that, it's not an option to move back for seeing
Yeah.
the things with a systemic approach. You know, all of you that are here in this community, you know that.
Very good. And if anybody has the link, I'm not that good at doing too many things at once. Please drop it in the chat. I'd love to see that later. Good. And by the way, in the chat, if you want to talk amongst yourself, feel free, because maybe you have your own favorite book that helped you see things differently and you can't go back anymore. That's always very good. Thank you, Sergey, colleague from Amsterdam. Very good. Hey,
Share what Tatiana recommended to us, maybe, because I'm excited about this tip for reading. I already ordered it right now.
very good. Very good.
It's a very good book. If you don't know it, really, you should read it. Everybody who is interested in systems thinking and systems change, this is the book to start with.
Before we start, like what you're doing in the area in Catalonia, can you explain a little bit what is the area? What is it from a citizen, a culture, and a government point of view, maybe? And yeah,
Okay.
give us a feel.
Catalonia is a region in the northeast of Spain, in South Europe, and it's quite a big region. We like to say it's like a country. We are 8 million inhabitants, and so we have 12 universities, 42 research centers, so that you can imagine that it's really for the standards of Europe, it's a big region. And yeah, it's a region in which there are many things happening always. There are lots of entrepreneurs, the civil society is very strong, maybe because we are a region that would like maybe to be a state, but it's not a state, then the national government is so far away that it's a society with a lot of initiative and creativity. But what we see is that we have all this, but there are not enough connections. And when we want to address these huge challenges, if we don't have these connections, all this energy, yeah, you can do new companies, startups. We are a rich ecosystem in startups, but then nothing happens because it's not helping to change the system. So you have this combination of things, no? That a lot of people, a lot of energy, trying new things, and really very good people doing really amazing things, attracting lots of European funds, lots of connections at international level. But then you see the numbers of the country and you see that, and yeah, we could be much better off if this energy is oriented towards making the territory better off, no? And that's the main challenge that we are working on, how we connect all this knowledge and all that to transform the territory. And this I would like to characterize it like this, yeah.
Very interesting. I didn't, I know Barcelona, of course, as a tourist. And I once had a good dinner in the Ferran Adriaan's restaurant, so that's a long time ago. I also heard, by the way, that to become a civil servant, that's not very easy. Am I right? There's like an interesting dynamic there.
Okay. A lifetime civil servant, you need to do an exam. So it's like in almost every European country, I think, no? No? Okay.
Not in Amsterdam.
In Southern Europe, it's the typical, you need to prepare like an exam that it's not easy because you need to know all the laws and all. And it's not very well organized. There are not many exams, so it's a little bit, you need to do an exam. I did my exam many years ago, and so that's why I'm a lifetime public servant.
Right. So there's a high threshold, and once you're in, you
Well,
definitely
no, it's
stay
not a
in.
high threshold. It's
Okay.
an exam that you have to do.
Okay.
And it's an exam that requires to know all the possible laws and about procedures, legal procedures, about all kind of things.
Interesting.
You need to study a lot, but I don't see if it's that. So
it's not hard. Okay.
Yeah, you need to invest a lot of time into learning for this exam.
Okay.
And it's not very interesting to learn all the stuff that you have to learn. So.
Okay. But the other way, you are now a civil servant, and maybe that's a good to come back to the story of you and the program and move towards there. It's like how did the first murmurations of the program emerge of what you're doing now? How did you get there, and maybe then slowly move into what it is exactly?
Okay, I think that can I use the presentation, the slides, to explain a little bit the program?
Yeah, feel free.
I think it could be easier to explain what we are doing, and then people can ask all the questions. So if you have any questions, so it will take only 12 minutes, 30 minutes. I think it's better I explain all this, and then we can talk about anything you like to talk. I would like to give like an overview so that we all know what we are talking about. So I work in Catalonia in the Ministry of Economy and Finance. And we have a program, a strategy that is related to European funds. And it's a strategy that I'm going to explain now. If it's moving this presentation. Yeah. Okay. Okay. It's a strategy that tries to generate a new framework, a new space in the public administration to address really these huge challenges that we face in society. And it tries to generate like the instruments, like the narrative, like the umbrella, like the instruments so that public administrations can work together with universities, research centers, civil society, and companies to address these challenges. It's to open these kind of spaces, to have these different conversations and to really question and challenge the instruments that we usually have in the public administration. It's not easy, but this strategy is about this. And it's a strategy that is framed as an innovation project. It's a transformative innovation project. That's why the unit I'm leading, it's called Transformative Innovation. It's important to say that it is in the Ministry of Economy, because at the end it's about how we generate more added value for society. And in this case, the Ministry of Economy is a ministry that is neutral and can be able to open this kind of spaces. We are going to talk later about that, because here we see why it's so necessary to work differently from the public administration, because we know that these challenges, like, for example, the challenge of health, cannot be only addressed from the health ministry or from hospitals, because you know that all the factors that are affecting health conditions are outside the health system. If we don't recognize that and address that in a systemic way, it's impossible to address the problem. So this is the typical pictures we have in systems thinking and in systems in presentation, no? That we know that good intentions do not necessarily translate into good outcomes. And this is the starting point of our strategy, to recognize that maybe we are trying very hard with many policies and many instruments and many investments, but this is not enough if we really want to address these huge challenges, because we know that the challenges of our society have these characteristics. No, we don't have a good understanding of them. There are multiple perspectives, stakeholders engaged in that. All the problems are interconnected. There are not solutions for that problems. They cannot be planned. They need to be tested, and it's not possible to foresee what will happen next. So, and solutions many times are not technical. We have technical solutions for almost everything, but many times it's about how you change the practices, how you change the views of the citizens, the behaviors, and that's why we need different approaches. And this program, it's like a program really acknowledging this and working for that. So this is how we see this. We work with the concept of shared agendas, and this picture illustrates that. No, we are on the left side. In a broken society, we have so many challenges and we know not very well what we need to do. More or less, we have a perspective that we have the SDGs as a like horizon where we would like to have societies looking like the SDGs. But we need to acknowledge that there are many different pathways to move there, and that we need to discover together each territory needs to discover together which pathways they want to explore and use to move forward towards this kind of society. And there is not one best pathway. There are many different options, and we need to discover together and work together on building these pathways. We say that it's building on the emerging future. No, it's about understanding, and this is not very comfortable for public administrations and neither for any person, because we have grown up with a linear mindset, so to say. We have all systemic mindsets, but in school, in work, everywhere, we are taught to use this linear mindset. So the strategy is very easy. This is very easy or very complex. We have these huge shared agendas in the territory. This has been approved by the government. We want a sustainable, fair, equitable, and healthy food system. Of course, the natural resources are key. We need to treat them in a different way. Logistics and mobility, it needs to be rethink the system. Health system, social system, it's also something we need to change completely. Also, our important issue is universities and schools, because at the end, it's very important how we train these young people, how during their study period, they have contact to and are empowered to understand and to affect the challenges from their local communities. And this is something that we want to really work on. And also industrial system and cultural system and territory. Here, the main fields in which we are working, you see there are not like priorities, but they have a clear directionality. And we need to develop strategies to move in these directions. That is the idea of the theory. Then we have this kind of picture, because it's important that people understand and imagine what we are talking about. When we talk about changing the food system, we are talking about that we are on the left side now in this food system that we have here. And we want to develop different options and different. That's the same with the bioeconomy or with other. As I said, this is the book. It makes all the difference, because this strategy is very inspired in this book. And share agendas also, because this is, I don't know if you are familiar with, but there is, if not, you can read the book, and they explain about this creative tension model, in which it's important, if you want to generate energy for transformative change, it's important that you have a group of people, an ecosystem of people that have a systemic understanding of the situation we are now. They have a clear vision of where they want to go, what kind of future they imagine for a challenge, for a territory. And when they understand why, even if they are trying hard to make things better, they are stuck in the current situation and what they are doing is not helping them to move forward, they can start different kinds of conversation, because they are here, they want to go there, but they are trying hard, but what they are doing, it's not helping them to move forward. Then it's one you can start working with this energy and try to explore different pathways and different interactions among actors and you can try different things. That's the basic model for shared agendas. And what is important for us is that we cannot invent just this kind of methodologies. There are many researchers that have been working on how transitions happen, because talking about green and just transition is about really a deep transition in our system. We need to completely rethink how our socio-technical systems work, food system, mobility system, health system. And there are a lot of researchers, and this is what Deep Transitions Lab and Transformative Innovation Policy Consortium is working on. They explain, based on lots of historical analysis, how transitions happen. You have the global trends that are changing the conditions in our society. We have the regimes that are the business as usual, that they are not easy to change. They are extremely difficult to change, because you have the policies, you have the investment, you have the financing, you have the culture, the society, you have science, technology, markets, and everything is working right now. We don't like the results, but everything is somehow working. To change that, it's very, very difficult. There are lots of tensions to change that. But global trends are making pressure in how systems work. And in every territory, we have niches. We have groups of people that are really trying to do alternative practices. And at the end, if you want to generate a transition or systems change, you need to learn how you work with the three levels. You need to acknowledge the global, understand very well the global trends and how you can use them to change the system. You need to acknowledge all the obstacles and the difficulties and resistance of the system to be changed. And you need to work with the energy that is there, with these people that really have a clear idea of where they want to go and can move forward. We need to start working with these niches and opening new spaces in which the niche actors in the center and the niche actors can start talking and imagine different pathways for this territory. I think I'm talking too much, but I think it's important that we explain all this, because if not, it's difficult to understand.
Very useful, this.
Okay.
Keep going.
Okay. Then this is another way of looking at the same thing. We see that the current systems are not working, that in 10 years, in 5 years, maybe, they are going to be very different from how they are working today. But we know that all the actors in the systems are putting all the resources, investment, capacities into maintaining what we know it's not working, because it's not possible that the health system, the education system, or the companies, they cannot stop and we reinvent a new ones. It's not possible. So the current system needs to keep going. But this is not sufficient. As public administrations, as citizens, as researchers, as entrepreneurs, we need to understand and to see that we need at the same time to generate alternatives, and how we build these alternatives that will help the current system to transform itself. So if there are not alternatives, your only option is to keep going, even if you know that you are going to the disaster. It's very important to develop alternatives with stakeholders, to have demonstrators, to see that it's possible to do things in different way and that is not so risky. When these alternatives are available, then it's much easier that the dominant system start to change. If there are not alternatives, and this is a tension constantly between creating alternatives and but it's not one or the other. You need both of them. And this is what many public administrations don't see. And because the lobbies and all the stakeholders with power want to maintain just the current system, but at the end, it's better for them if we are building alternatives for them to be more sustainable in the future. So this is the kind of tensions that are there, and we are trying to address with this program and strategy. And we are working with these shared agendas. That what I explained is the framework, but then we are working very place-based. There is a territory with a group of stakeholders that have a vision for the territory, how we empower them to see the big picture and to start working differently at local level with our support and collaboration. And for that, we need that these stakeholders working at local level and develop this kind of shared understanding, systemic understanding of the challenge they face. They need to understand how difficult it is to change the system. They need to understand what all the obstacles are there, but they need to understand also the opportunity, to see the opportunities to put in motion this positive energy that are in all territories at local level by some people, no? So we need to create these experimental spaces, but not as an experiment, because I think, and maybe it's a little bit shocking, but there are so many laboratories everywhere. Everybody wants to build labs, and this is not enough for transformative change. These labs, it's very important that they are connected to the dynamics in the territory, to the challenge in the territory. And they are an instrument, not an objective in itself. It's not, if we want to make transitions happen, it's not about experimenting in many labs to get money to make experiments. It's about how we can experiment in order to make things different in the real life. But at the same time, we need to connect both things from the beginning. When we design the experiments, it's important that they are serving to the needs of the people in the territory wanting to make the things different. And this is more difficult because it requires time, building trust. But if we miss this point, then after that, we have the labs and the experiments and the solutions, but nothing is transformed. So we need this approach. We need to experiment, of course, and very important, and this is where Miriam, Ingenio, Transformative Innovation Policy Consortium is helping us in generating new tools, formative evaluation, so evaluation for learning, to understand how change happened, to understand this kind of thing. So this is very, very important to have different frames for evaluation, for learning, for generating these new pathways. So, and we have some examples. We have some pilot cases. One is the case of a rural region in Lleida, in which the populated region with lots of problems with the production of cows and pigs because all the manure and all the contamination of soils and water, and how they started to see this problem as an opportunity to start creating a strategy built on the endogenous resources they have in the territory. This kind of waste is not only waste, there can be products to a different kind of the development. So it's a kind of a strategy in which we started with a small group of 8 municipalities. And now they have lots of working groups and start thinking the problems in a different way with this systemic approach, trying to develop a shared vision of the future for the territory. And this generated different things started to happen in this territory. For example, 150 families from farmers came together to buy a piece of land and to start generating new business model from the manure, but also with energy, renewable energy, generating biogas. So you need to create these spaces in which different actors understand the problems, they share a vision where they want to go, and they start working together with the support of government, researchers, but with the energy from the farmers living in the territory, because the people living in the territory are the ones with the energy to change things. And public administrations, researchers, and all these other people are supporting them into addressing this challenge. That's the difference. And in Lleida, in Manresa is another example with the aging society, how aging society and all the problems that old people have with chronicities, dependency problems, that is affecting the quality of life, not only of the old people, but also all the families that are taking care of these people, but also putting tensions on the health system, on the social system. It needs to be possible to look at the problem in another way. And these people in the central of Catalonia, they started to generate an ecosystem in which doctors, social workers, researchers, patients, entrepreneurs started to have a huge understanding of the problems that were there and developing together solutions that were systemic, but at the end they created new products, new services that make a better life for the people living there. Not only the people living there, the people working there, because it's, but at the same time, they created jobs opportunities. So it's a very interesting example. And in the middle, you have all the information and videos about these cases that are amazing. And I'm finishing with this slide because to do all that, so we have the easy part, the easy or the difficult part, I don't know, it's to understand what kind of frameworks and are useful for this kind of processes, to identify at local level where is energy to generate this kind of processes, and then how we can generate also in the government teams of people that not work in silos, but we are working together, looking at the challenges, get trained with all these kind of tools and approaches. And I did not say, but in this case also systems mapping, and we are going to talk later because there are some interesting examples in the Miro, are a very useful, interesting tool to have this kind of different conversations together with all stakeholders and trying to see that we are part of the problem now, but we can also be part of the solution. And this is the kind of conversations that we need to have in order to change things. And with that, I would finish my presentation. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Tatiana. What a whirlwind of an impressive story. Thank you very much. I knew it was a lot, but not that much. I mean, there's so many programs that you are running within the program, or so many projects. I know how you want to use the ontology, but and maybe that's my first question, because we will go into the recipes, if you will, later. But if you look at this as this, you know, you're a chef, and this is the restaurant with all the different foods that you can have and that you are creating. How can somebody else start? I mean, how did you get this room to do all this work and to use all these tools? How did you convince it? And of course, you convinced us, of course, already. But is there like a key thing that people can use to start doing it themselves in, for instance, Amsterdam? I saw so many people from Finland, from the UK. That's, I think, one of the key questions.
Yeah, many people are asking me this question in the last months or years. And it has not an easy answer, because it's not that you need to convince someone. It's hard work at the beginning. No one. In a sense, we are challenging how the current system works, because we know that in the public administration, what we are doing is not working, but it's not. No one wants to recognize it, because at the end, we are questioning ourselves, our job. We are spending so many hours there doing hard work. And at the end, we really know that it doesn't make a difference usually for most of the work we are doing in the public administration. Mm-hmm. So first of all, it's to find a space. In our case, it was this strategy with European funds. The European Commission asked all regions in Europe to develop smart specialization strategies. No one knew what was this about. We said, okay, this can be an opportunity to start slowly to open a different space within the public administration to start talking about these kind of things. And you always need to start slowly, because the most important thing to be successful is that no one in your institution feels like a man, like you are challenging them or you are criticizing what they are doing. This is the most important thing to change anything. And never say, I want to change the public administration. No. This is, if you say that, you are lost, because it's so powerful. So it's just, no, we are discovering that, we are exploring, but then at the same time making alliances. So for us, it has been key to have these alliances with the territories of Lleida, of Valles, to connect directly to these people that really are trying hard to do different things. And then we know that with a little bit of help, they can do amazing things, because there are a lot of people that they are doing amazing things, but without this additional help, this is not visible. And we need to build these demonstrators. And because at the beginning, you very question and you have a clear idea where you want to go. And at the start small without great ambitions. And I don't know, maybe Mariana has also facing the same problems in the huge administration like the OECD, because introducing systems thinking in the OECD is quite difficult. And yeah, I don't know, maybe you want to share something, Mariana, so that I don't talk too much.
Sure, happy to. Not put me on the spot. happy to do. No, indeed, it is a question. It is about challenging the way we are used to doing things. Where I see a lot of potential with a systems approach is that we can present it in a way that is not confrontational but complementary. In a sense, what we are doing is shifting the attention from improving parts, shifting some of the attention from improving parts to looking at connections. And that is complementary. It's just that the balance is not right? Most of the attention is today on improving parts, and we need to put more attention on how the system functions as a whole. So in a sense, the systems innovation narrative is one that can be presented in a way that is also complementary and shift the attention from one to the other without necessarily saying that the improvement in parts is bad, because it is not. It is also necessary in a sense. So in that sense, I think we can find the balance narrative-wise. I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, it helps, because what we are always saying is that we are not confronting the ways things are doing. We say that it's very important what the public administration is already doing, but we are missing something. If we really want to transform things, we need to open these spaces to think about alternatives, to experiment, to try to provide new ideas. It's like big companies. They cannot innovate. They usually use startups in order so they make the innovation and then they acquire the innovation. In public administration, it should be the same. It's not that all the public administration can start experimenting with new things, because at the end we are providing public services that are very relevant for the society. And if it fails, it's a huge problem. But we need to open this space for experimentation, and this is useful for the system to change itself. But now, when we started, no one could understood that. For us, we didn't have the words to explain that. But for example, working with Ingenio, with Tipsy, that they have names for all these kind of things, and they have frameworks that are universal for all countries, has supported us in explaining it better. And maybe Miriam want to contribute something or want to say something, because she has seen all the process too from a researcher perspective, analyzing all this process. So maybe Miriam, you want to share something?
I don't know, Tatiana is always inspiring to hear you, and she's humble. I think that this is one of the, this is a key aspect of what she's doing in her sphere of influence. I think that she has also been very clever in connecting what her vision is regarding systems transformation and the transformation of Catalonia, or the parts of Catalonia they are looking at, through having a dialogue with research. So she's supporting the strategies underpinned, as she was saying, by the transformative innovation policy and knowledge, and all the approach, the practical approach we have been developing within the consortium. And we have also learned a lot. We have had this dialogue between public administration and us as researchers. And this is an ongoing learning relationship, which is very fruitful, and it's fantastic. We've been using many tools that have been already developed in the consortium with the aid and the dialogue of different actors, not only researchers, but also policymakers. And we are applying them in the case of Catalonia, but also changing them and moving, going beyond them. We have also, we have learned, for instance, a lot on systems thinking in the consortium through what Tatiana is and her team is doing in Catalonia. I don't know if you want me to say anything else, Tatiana.
I don't know.
Or...
I don't know. I see that
Well-
he has also joined. I don't know if he's listening, but Pashi.
Well, we're also
Pashi
coming
was,
up on.
She's there.
she's a very important person
Yeah.
in the consortium as well.
Yeah, she's doing
well,
all the rest.
We're coming up on the top of the hour, and I did promise a break. So I'm going to finish off this part of the event where we more on a general view look at everything. I think, and I'll probably won't do that much justice, but I think there's three things that I hear you say what makes this successful, which is that you introduce the way of working, the different view as you do it in a safe way. It's an additional thing to what is already being done, and that is how you create the room. What I also hear you say is you are facilitative. As in you don't have the solution, you get the local areas involved, and that's where you work with. So and you do that by using the tools like Miriam just shortly I think described, using the knowledge and the methods and the tools that you have for this process. And the safe space, of facilitation approach, as well as the deep the smart tools make it happen. If I make it very short. And
only one thing is that additional but strongly connected and at the service of the things that are already there. Because a very easy mistake is to create something new that it has its own interest. It's something new, but it has not its own interest. It's at the service of improving what is done by the people that really want to change things. It's like coalitions of the willing, we say, and we are like a facilitator in training, in tools, facilitating, providing research, providing these opening spaces. And also very important is that our team is distributed in different ministries, and they are strongly connected and working with the people that are making the traditional policies. Because it's the only, we want to see that these people doing the policies, viewing and having contact with what we are doing, they start asking themselves the questions, and they are wanting to change the things, not because we are telling them, but because they are seeing that there is another way of doing things that is more fun and more effective. So
very good, very good. Yes. Beautiful, a very strong addition, and way better than I could word it, of course. Well, with that, people, I think I'm going to call it an 8-minute break, if everybody agrees on that. That means that 10 past we will be back. Run off to get your coffee, tea, beer, whatever time it is. Go to the bathroom or pet your cat. And with that, and if you have any questions, feel free to put them already in the chat, and we'll try to get to them. If you can't run away, which is also good. But with that, let's pause it for now and take a breather. It's top of the hour, almost. Of course, I'm impatient. Yeah, thank you, Isaac. I always need confirmation. I
I'm there for you,
saw your
Martin.
question. Yes.
Good. Yeah. Yep.
And Josh, see the last slide on the Miro. We even got an image.
Yeah. Martin,
Yes.
I wanted to ask you, since Billy has to leave in a few minutes, maybe she can share with us some of her views about the work we have been doing with systems mapping together. So, because it's an opportunity to have her here, so I would like
Of course.
to read it.
Yeah.
And Bill, yeah, in the mirror, Ferran, if you want to show where are you there, Ferran?
Yes.
Yeah. You bring us to the mirror and to the place where
Yeah.
the maps are, because we have all the maps in the mirror, Billy.
Very good. Very good.
Okay,
And I think
I will share screen if you want.
yeah, let me start this part up and yeah,
Okay.
you run it and as you see fit. And
Perfect.
we have one question that you can think about, Tatiana, and not answer because you had another request. But I thought that was a very good question, is if you had a specific high up sponsor that helped you start this. So we're going to put that one in the wait while we start up this next part, which is the tools and method parade. We have created, actually, Tatiana and her team have created an awesome big board with everything you kind of quickly saw just now in her presentation. Ferran is going to open it and guide us through it. So I said we won't be able to go through everything, but we now want to start to dive a little bit into systems mapping, because that is something that is good to tell right now, right, Tatiana? So I'll hand it over to you, back, and take us away.
Thank you.
Great, perfect. Then morning, everyone. I'm going to share my screen with the mirror. I'm going to bring you directly to this part in which we have put some of the images of some of the systems maps that we did with Reimagine Futures. So maybe Liliana, if you want me to zoom into any of the maps, you tell me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will be very brief just to share that it's been really quite amazing to work with Tatiana and Ferran and her team in the public administration to do systems mapping. This is so rare. We barely find private clients that actually see the value of this, and it's just very, very special that public administration is actually open and super immersive into this kind of systems analysis. So we have done several systems maps. I can see one here this one is on transformative innovation and knowledge creation in Catalonia. And we have worked on that one with some of the university networks, actually with all universities in Catalonia. And it was part of a bigger effort to really see what is really keeping the system stuck right now to supporting the classical non-radical innovation, and what is really missing for this to become transformative innovation. And now it's actually Tatiana's even job title, so we've advanced on that. And this is our very first map that we did on food system and circularity and fairness and equity in the Catalan food system. This is really very big. Catalonia is a massive food producer and food exporter. It's really grounded into what they do, and we really did quite a systemic analysis of what is currently happening and what is missing in order to really move towards more circularity. And it was an amazing experiment because there are a lot of live niches developing in Catalonia around food system transformation. On this side, we have the transformative investing systems map, which is around transforming financial flows and moving from traditional investing to impact investing and ultimately to transformative investing, because impact investing is still very siloed and really, really very much lacks systemic thinking in it. And this one is on healthcare and looking at particularly the challenge of chronicity and dependency in a very particular small area within Catalonia. And this one was really very unique because of the geography, because of the really local geography. We were able to work in a super participatory way over nearly an entire year of co-creating this map. And the team who did it is a really diverse team of universities, Chamber of Commerce, local hospital, I can't remember who else, but
social workers and
social workers. Yeah, it was just so diverse, and they absolutely created and owned this map. And in fact, they still very, very much own it and go and talk about it and base their funding proposals on systemic understanding from it. And all of these maps we do as part, as kind of like step one of this shared agendas methodology that Tatiana shared a little bit about. And it's a really opportunity for systemic analysis, for slowing down and really looking at the system, which is really rare.
Just a question on this, I mean, I love the method, of course, but you're saying this took you a year with all these stakeholders. Am I correct?
Depends.
Yeah. What is the quickest one? The quickest one you?
Yeah, but why do you want to do it quick? Because at the end, this is a process to engage with the stakeholders, to understand how the problems they want to challenge are so complex, and it's like a process in which you want to bring in different stakeholders and different views, and you cannot put them all in a room, and that because it gets polarized. It's like to web something, no? Because you need to do start with a core group, but then have invite different people to have different conversations, but not all together. And you need to prepare the framework in order that to prepare them to have this whole perspective. So the thing is not doing the map. The map is an instrument to hold these kind of conversations in a place that take time, because you want to change the mindsets. So if you want to invent a map, you can do it quickly if you know all the loops and
right. Very good. I love it.
No, Billy, it depends of us, not of you. It's a lot of work. That's true.
Yeah. And is that documented, that process?
Yeah, it's here in the links. You
okay,
have
good. Because So if I want to do it, you can see it there, and to that approach that you just described. Very good. And also like how do you keep it alive and communicate about it? So because of course it's dynamic.
The thing is with these maps that the important thing is not the picture you have now and you go there and learn something. The thing in the case of badges is what's very interesting, because it's like there are many people there. They want to have this shared agenda, and all of them have their perspectives. They need to understand, to talk about what are the interests of each other, how they see things. So this map supported them in this process to see the challenges and the other actors and themselves in a different way. And since this is a mapping reflecting the current situation doesn't change that much. It's like the obstacles and the facilitate. You map the current system, the obstacles and the opportunities that are there to move into the desired direction.
Right.
It's about mapping the constraints, the facilitators you can identify the leverage points on which you can work on. Without this kind of mapping, it's very difficult to identify the leverage points. But there are different tools. We don't use them for every process, but they are useful tools. Now we are working on 2 more with the Biliana's team, one about regeneration of rural areas. What does it mean? Rural areas that attract population, and Dirk is also here, because we know with Dirk we talk about that it's important. For example, the map of food, we need to review it because it was our first map and many things are missing there. And maybe next year we are going to work on this map again and to renew it. But in other cases, it's just to be aware of the obstacles that are in the current system that don't change in 2 or 3 years. And it's important to say that these maps are not mapping the whole system. This is impossible to map. It's the view of the people in this territory working on this challenge.
Yeah.
No one is happy with the result of the map because it doesn't reflect the overview of any one of the stakeholders engaged. The interesting thing, no one is happy with these maps because it's usual. You have your own perspective and this.
Love it. Yeah,
and
I get it. Yeah. Very good, very good. I think great as to see indeed, like Liana says, that you have, you can use this because you get an idea, a little bit of an idea of the contextuality of the situation and of what you are trying to achieve with everybody else all the time. Very good. Now maybe, but so before we move to shared agendas, because I think we need to dive into that. So let's go back to that one question we had from the last hour, which is, did you have one specific key relationship, maybe higher up, that people want to believe that you had, or think helps always, or what's something like that there in the space making for this whole program?
Yeah, we use the opportunity of the new smart specialization strategy that the European Commission asked us to develop, and no one understood what it was about. We use this as for creating this space. And to defend this space and to protect it. It's like a niche, no, in the theory of Tipsy, and now Miriam, you will love, no, but it's like you need to work as a niche. You create this niche, you know that this makes sense. You find an opportunity to shield the niche, and this is the smart specialization strategy, because once it's approved, it's like shielded. And then you start growing it and making alliances. It's not having a sponsor, because we are in the public administration, so we don't need like a sponsor. If you are in the private sector, you need like a sponsor in order to finance these kind of things. Public administration is different because it's like a policy that it's developing the government. It's not something extra. It's one of the policies the government is implementing. And then, of course, every time you have a new general director, you need to convince a little bit and to, they can be the sponsors or not, but at the end, it's that they allow these spaces. And then there is this tension. You need to provide results in order that they are happy with you, and you don't create problems, but you create opportunities and results, and everybody's happy with that. So, and this is a process that it has taken lots of time, because at the beginning, we didn't know anything about all these kind of things. So it's not that we wanted to do this, what we have now. We had no idea. We started step by step, and we have always been able to find the alliances to make it bigger and to move forward. I don't know if I'm answering the question.
Oh, you are. I think you are. And because, of course, we're limited time, we have to do with, or this has to work, because I want to hear about shared agendas, and maybe some other people too.
Yeah, how many years? You ask what? Exactly.
I'd love to hear more about shared agendas.
Okay. Shared agendas. So I explain a little bit the context, and here we have, it's difficult. It's easy and difficult. So it's easy in theory, because at the end is about finding a group, some stakeholders in a territory that have a problem that is a systemic problem that can be treated also as an opportunity. There are these people that have a shared vision of a future that it's more green and more just, if these are the conditions we say for our shared agendas. And then it's about how we start working together, understanding the current situation, understanding the shared vision of the future, and through innovation comes creating these spaces in which this kind of all these people start to meeting and develop actions that they can do in order to accelerate this transformation, what kind of alliances they need, what kind of funds they can use, because it's not about, and this is very important, it's not that we are giving money to create your agendas. It's the contrary. If you do that, it doesn't work because people are going to do everything possible to get the money. Our perspective is different. It's say, okay, come on, we have proof that this way of working can support you in this process of engaging stakeholders and making things happening in the territory. But it's a hard work. So you are going to really want to do it, and you are going to work a lot. But working with you in this way, we are going to identify new allies. We are going to identify possible sources for financing. We are going to be able to rethink some policies in order to support better your processes. And this is the kind of things that this picture shows, and that we are working with shared agendas. And as I say, we had these 2 pilot cases that we work in the past period, and the new strategy that was being reviewed and approved at the end of 22. We now want to work it in all the territories and in different fields. And how many agendas do we have? No, now we have only these 2 that we started in 2018, because building a shared agenda is not one thing that you can do in 1 year, and it has not an end. We define them also as ecosystem-based missions, but a difference in missions, we cannot set quantified targets, because as I said before, this is about building on the emerging future. It's about building new alliances that open new opportunities that you can know them beforehand. If someone had asked me or any of the people in my team, or even Miriam, or even where we wanted to be in 3 years or 4 years, we would have never imagined to be where we are today, because it was impossible to foresee if these alliances could help or not. Or the risk regard has, and I wanted to point that out, it has been recognized by the European Environmental Agency as an example, as a case of governance in complexity, because to generate transformative processes, in complex environments, so like the ones we have now, you need to rethink completely the questions you ask, the indicators you use, and the way you work on. So that's why these shared agendas, the central part is to work on these innovation camps to generate new different ways of monitoring. And yeah, it seems chaotic, but it's not chaotic, because we are building on all these conceptual framework, on this work done by researchers. We have this multi-level perspective. It's a theory of change, of how transitions happen. And the thing that we have this strong and robust theory of change behind all what we are doing, we can deal this uncertainty, this complexity, and that it's difficult to explain these processes, because they are not easy, and it's not like there is a receipt and I give it to you and you can do it in your region, because it's more about sensing and understanding global trends, your system and the resistance and the opportunities, who are your allies, who are the people really trying to do new things and different things that you can make coalitions with them in order to find this energy in the system and to redirect it to help the system to change itself. It's all about this. And yeah, it's not, now we are finding words, but it's difficult to explain. Sorry for that. So.
Well, I get a feel now because I didn't really understand it yet, but I do know now. So thank you for that, Tatiana. We have, I think, 20 minutes left, and I can keep asking you questions, and you can keep
Mariana,
saying
please
things.
ask Mariana what we are.
Yeah, well, that or maybe somebody else
Miriam,
in
and
the
Miriam
audience.
too.
Yeah, like are
Miriam
there
and
any?
Mariana, let's have some space for them.
Okay.
So what you are seeing now in the shared screen, it's a very brief presentation where we explain exactly what the work we have been doing with Mariana and the OCDE. So Mariana, if you want to present, I'm going to go through the slides.
Miriam, okay if I go first?
Yes,
Shall I go? Yep.
I was kind of assuming that. Sorry, Mariana.
Okay, yes,
Thank you.
I will, and I'm not sure I will use the slides because I would like to link what we are doing to something that Tatiana mentioned. So basically, to give some context, so I sit at the environment director of the OECD. So many thanks for the invitation and Tatiana for the insights today. So I sit at the Environment Directorate of the OECD within the Climate Change Mitigation team. Our mission is really to support countries, regions, and cities to develop their net zero strategies. And we do that by taking a systems approach. So we are, that's a little bit of the peculiarity of our team. We try to really identify what are the policies with a transformative potential. To put it in the words of Tatiana, what are the policies that can help systems transform themselves? That's kind of the idea. And so we have started working with Generalitat de Catalonia over a year ago. And the idea is really to provide an input to one of the shared agendas, the one on sustainable mobility. Basically, as Tatiana mentioned, there are different pathways that each territory can take. What we're trying to do is to shed light on what are some of which pathway can be more transformative than others and which policy combination can lead us to the situation that is fairly different to the one that we have today. Tatiana also mentioned the need to build alternatives because without them, the only option is to keep going with what we have so far. And we see that a lot in policymaking. So to give an example, in mobility, many of the policies are informed by modeling exercises that project future demand similarly to what we see in the past. And thus the implicit assumption is that what can be in the future is not very difficult to what has been, right? And what we are trying to do with a systems approach, with the work we do, is to really get conversations going on what could be, and showing how what could be can be substantially different to what has been if we help systems transform themselves and function differently. So basically, in a nutshell, the objective of this collaboration is to identify policy packages with the potential to decarbonize transport for it to be an input for the shared agendas. We take 3 steps to a system approach. The first one is to envision what a sustainable system could look like, and envision it in a way that is very different to what has been. Here we also look at, Tatiana was talking about the need for mindset shifts. And here we're also looking at what are the ideas that have been influencing policy decisions. For example, this idea that future demand looks similar to past demand, and which of those ideas we need to challenge, because same system, same results, same idea, same system. And that's the first step, is really ideas and mindsets. And what we do is that we do a lot of desk reviews, a lot of interviews, but we also create spaces via workshops for people to work together. As Tatiana and Villana were saying for the mappings, it doesn't make much sense that we do an analysis on our side. What needs to happen is that stakeholders that have an agency in the system see things differently and see what is possible and how to go that direction. So first step, envision what could be and which ideas are maybe hindering us from getting there. The second step of our process is really to identify what is the system structure. Here we use causal loop diagrams, so far qualitative, to see, okay, what is triggering patterns of behaviors and results that are in this undesirable. So for example, to give a concrete example, what is leading still many people to use private vehicles instead of active or shared modes of mobility? What is it in the system structure, in the way we have designed our territories, we use a space that is leading to that? Once we have that vision of a system structure, that is a map in a sense, we then look at, okay, then certain policies are being prioritized to decarbonize the transport sector. That is really the objective we have in mind. But then, are these policies able to transform that system structure? Because if they don't, then we will likely get similar results that what we get today. And we know those results are not compatible with the net zero transition, right? And that's what we do, is that we categorize policies by their transformative potential, by looking at how those policies impact the system dynamics, how they impact key stocks in the system, I can say more about it, and how they influence as well mindsets, because some policies may reinforce some mindsets that we need to change. The third step is about, once we have identified those policies that hit on high leverage points, to use some of the terms that were used before, what are the processes that can help us implement those policies? And often the policies that hit on high leverage points are policies that are, first, fairly indirect from the result we want to get. Second, it's a policy in itself does not change or help to transform a complex system. We need a combination of policies. And thus we need a coordination of actors that often sit at different geographical and ministry levels that need to get together with a shared goal. And that's the redesign step, is really about that process that the shared agendas aims to facilitate as well. We will be publishing a report end of January. I can share some preliminary insights if useful, but I'll stop there to give Miriam some time as well to present. Many thanks.
Thank you for that deep dive, Mariana. Very good. And again, people,
Hi.
if you have questions,
Okay.
yeah, jump in. Or Miriam, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Miriam, you go, and then questions, because if not, we won't have time for sure.
Yes, okay. I just wanted to perhaps just to stress out that what Tatiana is doing is not the general way of doing things in the Catalan government. Just to clarify that she is building a niche. She is and she and her team are providing these spaces where you can work by using different rules and putting different practices in place. And when she was explaining shared agendas, I was thinking that shared agendas are a way to go to create governance spaces to anticipate on the future. So these are anticipatory governance processes that combine bottom-up with the top-down approach that is being enforced by the Catalan strategy at the regional level. And shared agendas do not appear in the void. So the team, Tatiana's team, are very much aware and very much they want to sense what is happening in the territory. They are not building things from scratch in terms of the initiatives that are being supported. I just wanted to perhaps clarify on that, and I haven't prepared a presentation on the transformative innovation policy approach. Perhaps just to mention that it's based, in case you don't, it's based. The approach is based on works on transition, socio-technical transition studies, and science, technology, and innovation studies, and the approach we take in the Transformative Innovation Policy Consortium, which, for those who may not be familiar, it's a consortium that brings together, as I was saying before, policymakers, as Tatiana, researchers, investors, and funders in a multi-country initiative to think and to think about processes and tools that can foster sustainable transitions. So in the approach we take with our transformative innovation policy framework, there are, as Tatiana said, several frameworks that are key. One of them is the multi-level perspective. It is also important in our approach, an evaluative. We take an evaluative, a formative evaluation approach towards building up policies. I think that there were some questions on that in the chat that we can discuss further if you want. And in this formative evaluation approach, we also consider the transformative outcomes that Pipashi, Ghosh, and others have developed after a review of the literature to guide these transformative innovation policies. I was asked by Tatiana to present the tools we share within the consortium with other policymakers and research.
Yeah, we're looking at that now, aren't we? Are you seeing that as well, Miriam?
Yes, I see that.
Okay, good. Yeah, because
okay.
people want to know about that. Like, what is
So
it?
this
How
is
does it work?
These are screenshots taken from the TIPSI Resource Lab. This is an open access place, and very much we invite you to use it and to explore it, where you can find maps, reports, case studies, Miro canvases to work to build a transformative innovation policies, in a sense, in a nutshell. And you are guided and you are invited to use that in many different. You can open Miros and download them and change them and do anything you want. And as an example, we just we show you here in this Miro how we have applied some of these tools, these Miros, in the work with Catalonia. You here have, for instance, the way we use the pentagonal map for systems analysis. So we use this type of maps to think about the actors, the rules that are configuring the actual socio-technical regimes. And we also take these maps to discuss, to have a dialogue on the type of rules, the alternative rules that we would like to see in the future, in the desired systems. You have here some of the examples. They are in Catalan, sorry, but the sources for these adaptations can be accessed in this webpage. As I was saying, the next example gives you an idea of how you can use this multi-level perspective to also have a shared understanding and analysis of the interventions that you want to do collectively with other actors. We have used them in many different cases, for instance, with Tatiana's team to think through their interventions and the way they see them as fostering alternative practices. And the last, there is another example where another tool taking the transformative innovation policy principles that were developed at the beginning of the consortium. These principles are used also to assess whether an experiment has a transformative potential. So this is another tool that you can download and adapt and use in case you are interested. And the last example also gives you an evidence on how we use transformative outcomes to reflect, to assess, to learn on whether an initiative has a transformative potential. I don't know if I have more time. If it's
I think
Do it.
they
there are
can.
resources in
Yeah.
practice. There are many of them. This is just a very
Right.
superficial presentation of the type of work we are also doing with the Catalan government.
Thank you. I think this is, yes, way too short. I think we should give you and all your tools a whole day. But well, let's call this a taster. And there's lots of links in there. And I look forward using my iPhone and then doing live translation only have to read the details. But yeah, very good. Thank you. Tatiana, I don't know if you want to say more or if people have questions, again, break in.
Yeah, let people to ask questions, I think, no?
Yes.
Because it's 15 minutes now.
We keep going. Yes.
Yeah, I thought it could be too much, 2 hours, but I see it was not too much. I've tried to answer some questions in the chat, but yeah, it's because there are many questions about data and how we measure success and how, yeah, it's not, and I'm always say, we need to change the mindset because it cannot, many times we say, yeah, if there are not data to express what we are doing, it's like it's not having impact. For me, it's the contrary. We focus on what really needs to be done. And this is to create this shared understanding, to create this shared vision of the future, to create this, open these new spaces, to create these new interactions. And then I don't care to measure if it's something, I don't want to focus my energy on measuring everything, what is happening in every territory. These processes are there. It makes sense to use them because then I don't want to do them, to be them an additional thing to do. The people in the territory integrate these processes as their normal way of doing things. And then it's impossible to separate what is the impact of a shared agenda. No, because a shared agenda, you want to engage policies, you want to engage stakeholders in getting access to European funds, in changing regulations, but you cannot say that is the result of a shared agenda. The people is not counting different things. You open new dynamics, and when you change system thing, you cannot take track or get a tracking of how the system transforms itself. These are processes to accelerate transformation of the systems, and this cannot be tracked by indicators. We have many indicators to do many different things, but not to evaluate the impact of shared agendas. This is impossible to do, and we don't want to do that because what you cannot quantify, it doesn't exist. No, it's the contrary. In normal policies, we are just measuring what can be measured, and the indicators condition where we put the funds, where we put the energy. No, we need to change that. We need to work on what it makes sense, to work on the real challenges. And many times it's difficult to measure and to put the names, but we need to keep working and working and working. And then maybe we are going to find some indicators that are useful, or maybe not. We don't care. We want to see that these processes are engaging more people feel empowered and taking responsibilities for the future in their territory. This is about connecting the people to the things that are happening in their communities and to make them agents of change. And this cannot be measured in indicators. Okay, you can say how many people interact, but yeah, does it? You see that. And we don't want to develop, to put our efforts of our small team, because we are a small team, in measuring these kind of things. We prefer to create, to focus on generating these processes. Yeah, that's
very clear.
And perhaps I would also add that there is a learning process. So this is a team who is experimenting and who is who discusses and who changes who changes many times the way they do things in order to fit tools and approaches better to the type of change they want to see. So from a formative evaluation perspective, there is an evaluation made that is connected to learning by doing while they are doing policy, implementing it.
Yeah, for example, we are working with a lot of innovation camps. At the beginning, for us, it was like so difficult to create these spaces in which we invite different stakeholders, not only about discuss, but about understanding the problems and connecting them in order that they don't see like you have this interest, I have this interest, you are public administration. So this quadruple helix, yeah. You are public administration, you are a researcher, you are entrepreneur, you are civil society, you are an activist. No, come on. This is about people that we are all activists working in different parts of the system, and we join forces to make things better. I don't care if you are as a person, you have a leverage agency because you are in an institution, then you have some agency from there, but you also have your agency as an individual that want to work for a better society. And in this kind of processes, the people are invited to be there as the person they are with the agency they have to support these processes. And this is also very, very important because it's the main impact. It's that more people learn how to work in radical collaboration. So with Miriam, she's in a research center in Valencia, but we are the same team. With people at university, we are the same team working together. We don't care if one is in university, one is in the public administration. So in these processes, there are many times people ask me, but the government, the other day, we are in a project in which researchers are working on the transformation of the food system. And then we are going to work together, and the researcher asked me, can you assure us that the government really believes this? Come on, what kind of question is that? Can you assure me that the research community and the scientific community is committed to this transformation? Because I see that there are many researchers working for multinationals and for that. This is a question that, please, forget this question. It's not about what is the government, is nothing. It's people working there. It's not like administration against the entrepreneurs or the entrepreneurs against the civil society. And this is very difficult with many activists, because to open this kind of spaces, one of the main enemies are some activists that they say everything as a confrontation with the public administration. And this is the main obstacle for our policy to succeed, because in these spaces, you invite people and they are only started to work like, oh, the government is that, there is a contradiction. Of course, there are contradictions because we are trying to generate alternatives, but it's not to, we need no confrontation to open a space where there are engaged people working for common interest to do something together. That's the key issue. Yeah.
With that, Tatiana, and you just opened up a new chapter that I'd love to get into, but we don't have time. Next time we'll do a whole day with your team, and everybody will get all the time. I mean, Miriam, all your tools. I want to dive into them and learn more.
Use them, they are for free.
Yeah, Josh is there because next year, Josh, are you there?
Yes.
Yeah, because
yep.
in March we want to do something in Barcelona, no, Josh?
Yeah, great.
Oh.
And Viviana also, who's here. We're planning a conference in Barcelona, Ferran, and so on. So looking forward to it. Yeah.
And maybe we should talk about February 14th, Tatiana, but that's another subject that I haven't broached yet, and Isaac will, because we're slowly now closing this. We have 8 minutes left. I want to thank Tatiana and her team, Mariana, Miriam, Paz, who I saw very active also in the chat. Thank you. Everybody else that I'm forgetting, of course. Thank you very much for such great wealth of information. And I think lots of people will be enjoying going through the details. I'm going to pass on the mic to Isaac, who does the closing ritual. Let me put it that way.
Oh, makes me sound like a druid. But thank you, Martin. I will I will try my best with this ritual. I'll just bring up just a very quick slide here so that you can see that this is available on the same Miro link that you have. So the same Miro board we've been using all the way through this talk. Up the top right-hand side, if you navigate across to there, you'll see our outro after we've had an intro and a middle, and now the outro. A shameless plug here for a conference that we are co-hosting with the London Hub, the Systems Innovation Network London Hub. Valentine's Day, what better way to show your love for systems innovation than gather on Valentine's Day in London for a conference on systems innovation in the public sector. So you'll see there is a link here to learn more about that. You'll also see more. Yes, thanks, Joss. Joss has dropped it in the chat as well. More communications coming out on that, certainly over the next few weeks and months, but just save the date there. Also, to find us as the hub, the governance hub, a few links there on LinkedIn, on the our website as well. Our community gathers on the website there, that first link. And if you wanted to watch our previous events, they're all uploaded here, as will this one be, in case you missed it and you are now watching at some point in the future. If you're new to the Systems Innovation Network in general, start here. This is the best place to start. There is so much content that you can get a little lost, but please do start there on that link there. And finally, just a little bit of feedback if you've got time, if you have 30 seconds. We are keen to hear if this hit the mark. Was the format effective? Can we adapt it somehow? Have you learnt about the objective of, did we meet the objective of this session, more to the point, which is the practical application of systems innovation? And just some feedback if you have time, some open text about how we can improve things for next time. But thank you so much. Again, I'll stop sharing so we can see each other. To all of our speakers, that was so much content and so much to dive into. I would really love to have round 2, 3, and 4 if you guys are willing, but we can discuss that later. Because yeah, I learnt buckets. Thank you again for sharing all the content as well on the Miro board, which I believe will be available after this. Is that it's available now, but will remain available after this session? Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Thanks, Tatiana. And the slides will also be available as well. So thank you very much, everybody, and hope to see you at our next event, and maybe see some of you in London for the 14 February next year, 2025 conference.
Yes. And that for now was the show.
Well done, all. Great. Hope to see you again.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye.
we are so excited, by the way,
Tatiana, Ferran,
for the
adeu,
14th.
Anna, adeu, apa.
Yeah.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
team.
That was my Spanish.
Bye.
If you have a little bit of time, Isaac, let's and Tatiana too, you can just do a checkout. Boom. And for feel free. Thank you also.
Amazing. That really was. Yeah, I was blown away. I didn't realize the depth. I know we've spoken before, Tatiana and Ferran, but didn't realize the depth of the work there. It was, yeah, phenomenal.
Some years.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
Yes, I can see. Many years.
Yeah, but then
huge.
people now, what indicators? I don't care what indicators. We are just.
No.
I love that attitude.
Yeah.
I had a question though, and just quickly, have you seen it? Speaking of shared agendas and mindsets, have you seen evidence of it acting as a contagion? I guess, like of this
of course,
approach
of course.
spreading.
Of course, completely. So also because I didn't explain that, but we have a team. With this new strategy, I build a team of people in the administration. We have people working in 8 different ministries.